Start with pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we don't have an adoption of minutes. We don't have them printed out right now. We can take it up the next meeting. No public hearing, no old business. New business, site plan application by KOSF to Pittsfield LLC for KO Storage, Main Street.
I'm just looking for a police officer.
I'll come out and help you.
We have someone on the line from KO. Is that Matt? There you go. Okay. So,
So, yes, this is kind of a continuation from last month's site plan, just the formal application and discussion on what we're proposing here. So, kind of like we discussed last week, it's 3 new storage buildings to kind of match the aesthetic of what's there in the open lot off of North Main Street, address 472 North Main, kind of across from the gas station there. So I don't think there was much kind of in the way of questions or concerns last week. So I don't think anything's changed or been updated besides just the documents that were submitted to the city over the last couple of weeks.
yep. Anybody have any questions before we start?
We going through the package?
I assume so.
Yeah.
Is there anything you need to say, Joel? Or
No, I think that's right. We need to go through the findings of fact, right?
okay.
Well, do we have to, is there a public hearing? Do we have to open that and then close that?
There is no public hearing.
Okay, we decided if we needed one.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Let me take the last. Okay. So, 7-1 pre-application. I think we've gone through that. And 7-2, no submission review process. And so we had a meeting back in June that went over roughly what we're going to do tonight.
Do we still need to schedule a public hearing?
We will determine once we go through this if we deem a public hearing necessary. That's usually what we've done in the past.
You don't need a public hearing for this, though, do we? This one?
Well, we'll determine if we want
Oh,
one
okay,
or not.
right, yeah, I got you. Right.
And on 7.42 technical review fee, does anybody think we need a technical, review fee?
No.
Everybody's okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Is everybody here familiar where it is and what's going on?
Yeah.
I've gone through up to section 9, not seeing anything that really needs anything changing from the existing location. On 9.1, utilization of the site, does the board think we need any proposed development requirements? Or are they all set pretty much with a plan that's in place?
Which one are you on? I'm sorry.
Section 9,
Yep.
9.1, utilization.
Okay.
Basically, utilization site, basically that they're not really changing the site much of anything as far as bothering for environmental, aspects.
I have a question.
Okay.
Back to wind energy facility. What is the, I thought this was a storage.
Yes, it is.
So what is the wind energy facility?
Which,
This is part of the site plan review. I think it's standard.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not applicable in this case. It's just if it was to be if we were reviewing a wind energy facility, we'd have to fill those sections out. It's not applicable to this.
Basically, through this plan, this paperwork is basically suitable for all
Okay.
plan applications.
So then it should have been crossed out?
Well,
Because
basically,
it doesn't apply to this?
yes, it doesn't
situation?
apply, so that's why we didn't spend any time on it.
Okay. And who's that man there?
That's Joel,
Who's Joel?
the boss. No,
No, she's the boss. No, actually, we're the
Joel
boss.
is our planner.
Joel's-
Planning contractor.
right.
Okay.
He works for Kennebec COG, Kennebec Council of Government.
Okay.
He helps us out with issues that we're not familiar with.
Okay. Thank you.
And 9.2 adequacy of road system, that isn't really changing. I know they said they're gonna change the driveway, basically rebuild the driveway coming in or more define what's there than the wide open spot that's there now.
I think the person's talking to somebody.
All right. You trying to talk to us online?
You muted. I think you might be on the phone with someone else. There.
No, sorry, I muted myself on accident.
Okay, no problem.
I just didn't know if there's a question on the driveway access for what we had going on there.
Well, the only question, has Maine DOT been contacted for the change in the driveway yet?
Yep, we have the permit approved for the changes that we've shown on the site plan there.
Okay.
Is that included here?
It's not in the
That should
packet.
be
I didn't see it,
the
no.
documents that were submitted, yes.
But it's not there.
Before the building permit is issued, the CEO will require a copy of that.
Okay.
But it usually should be attached to the
Yes.
site plan review.
Correct.
Okay.
We'll just put that as a
Condition.
Yeah.
condition.
Yeah.
We've done that. I know we've done that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it can be approved pending,
Right. Just
paperwork.
contingent, yeah.
So much of this it doesn't apply.
Where are you from?
Well, I'm up at the 10, just reading through a little
We
bit.
gotta agree on
9.5.
9 point something there, yeah. 95.
Yeah, we did. That's that. Okay, the internal vehicle. Yeah, I missed that.
One of the main concerns here is usually if you can get a fire truck around the back of the buildings, in case there's a fire, so they can get at it from all angles, so they've got enough clearance to get around the rear.
Right.
It still looks like there's plenty.
Yeah.
25 feet from 17.5 feet at the narrowest point from the building to the back of the paved way. It looks like.
Right, okay. Yeah, 'cause we don't have that paperwork here in front of us.
Well, there's a site plan in there
Yeah.
that's very small.
Yeah, it should be, should have a full size, full scale plan sometimes.
I missed that.
Near the beginning of the application package is a small plan.
Is it this?
Looks to me like at that corner, you're 25 feet from the building to the,
Oh yes, 17.5 is from the existing.
Okay, now I see.
25 from the new one at the back. And then there's
I had two papers stuck together.
25 in between the two new and the existing. Yeah. And 20 feet apron from to the side of that on the far side.
Looks like they're gonna fence it in too. They're gonna put Matt, are you gonna fence this in?
That's a future option shown on there for our ownership, but right now the plan is to not fence. So I think it says for future use fencing
Yeah.
or some type of note on there. But it's more just to get an idea so the owners know if we do fence it, this is kind of what we can do. But as of right now, no, we will not be fencing this.
Okay.
Future chain link fence proposed, all right.
So on 9.5, does the board agree that the above requirements are met?
Yes.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay.
And 9.7, pedestrian circulation. This probably doesn't really pertain to this.
Good. I mean, I think that's acceptable.
Stormwater management, 9.8.
Well, I do seem like, here we are again with stormwater management, and I don't see any calculations, anything showing what was about in regards to this, and, it just, I think we gotta use some accountability here with these projects, I guess, in my opinion, but.
Gravel driveways aren't the same listing as,
Well, there's a letter from the engineer that described that. Some of it was
What is the letter?
it should be toward the end of that, Mark.
It's in the erosion control part.
Because there is over,
I can read you to that. No stormwater treatment features are proposed for this site as the new impervious area is well under 1 acre and the existing development predates stormwater management law. The development requires only a MDP stormwater management law permit by rule. This application was submitted to the DEP on April 4th. As over 2 weeks have passed, the application is considered approved by the department as the development meets MDP DEP stormwater regulations. It is within the watershed of an at-risk lake or pond, and the erosion and sedimentation control plan has been provided for the property, and the site also meets the town of Pittsfield ordinance requirements. Please reach out with any questions. So I don't think they've done any calculations just based on the new amount of impervious, change to impervious surface being minimal is the rationale.
So, let me read. So, no stormwater treatment features are proposed at this site. As the new impervious area is well under 1 acre and the existing development predates stormwater management law. The development requires only a DEP stormwater management law permit by rule. Well, okay. So doesn't our requirement say right here under that 9.8? The applicant must demonstrate that on and off-site let's see, unless the discharge is directly to the major river segment stormwater runoff system must detain or retain water sits at the rate of flow from the site after development does not exceed the pre-development rate.
So I assume they're arguing that it won't change the development won't change the way that the water moves off the site in any fundamental way. I guess that's because what is it there? Is it there's partly gravel and then
Yeah, most, a good part of that area is already gravelled as it is.
That's impervious.
Gravel is impervious.
yeah, that's
The
considered.
roof to a building's impervious, the gravel's impervious.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would, this gets a little bit beyond my expertise. I unfortunately don't have the rubber stamp for the pre and post runoff calculations. I wish I did. But this is something I may be able to connect with our civil engineer, Esther, on. I'm sure she could probably help provide some clarity on that. I know with the DEP there in Maine, they have some pretty high standards for some of those calculations. And I think, if I recall back to the conversations we had, it was because of the overall development area and the nature of development that it was a little bit of a unique situation. But it's been a few months now, so I don't recall. So I don't necessarily have a specific answer for you at this time on that. I'll kind of clarify what the requirements are going to be. But she would be the one to talk probably a little bit more precisely on that.
So Matt, you haven't received, since this letter is dated April 21st, you guys haven't got your permit, the stormwater management permit by rule?
Are you talking about the letter for the DEP
Yeah.
that we were just reviewing?
Yeah, have you got that permit?
No, it says
Yes,
it's not
yeah.
required.
Well, it says development requires only a main DOT
yes.
stormwater development
Yeah,
law
you're right. Yep.
permit by rule.
We can require it as a condition because they should get a copy of it.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with the size of the development and how much disturbance is happening. Again, this is kind of through a conversation.
Yeah, because of the size of this, the permit by rule means that they technically don't get a permit. You just get one because it happens almost by default. You send in your information unless there's a problem with it, they'll contact it, but otherwise it's considered
Well,
allowed.
But you still get a permit though.
Yeah,
Right.
have you sent in a permit?
I would have to double check and see if I don't Esther would have the permit for that. So we could send that over along with the DOT permit.
Yeah, so the small projects require the little DEP permit by rule, so he can submit that as a condition.
Any other questions?
Okay, so this application was submitted to the DEP on April 4th. As over 14 days have passed, applications considered approved by the department. As the development meets DEP, is not within the watershed. Okay, all right, I understand now that you've talked through that. So they never responded back after 14 days, so it meets the permit by rule requirement.
And I always ask for a copy on our project. Just so we can make sure they did get it.
I didn't read that. I'm glad. Thank you for talking through that. I understand that now.
Any other discussion? Everybody okay with that? And we'll set that condition at the end?
Yep.
Erosion control, 9.9. Any discussion on that?
They covered that fairly well.
Yep, they've got a whole plan
Right.
at the end.
That's good.
Water supply, probably really doesn't have nothing to do with this.
And the erosion control document also kind of talks about some ditches and stuff to do with slowing down the flow rate of stormwater.
Yeah, those are just all standard details and
Yeah.
best management.
Where's that stuff?
Right at the very end, Mark. Just the spec section, which you inspect it.
Oh, there we go. I'm sorry, I did look at this. I did look at this, you guys.
Brent's just looking at that stuff every day, so.
Come on. All right, I got you.
9.13, natural features.
All right, they've done the homework with that then. Okay, good. Won't
So
change.
where are we?
9.13, 9.13, natural features. Any discussion on that one? Go to 9.14, groundwater protection. That's probably all in that same paperwork.
Well, there's no sewer.
No, it's
Right.
Yeah, sewer system.
Water quality protection. No hazardous materials, no shoreline zoning. .22, use of public roads, that's all in with the state DOT. Uh, 10.4.2, form of guarantee. Anybody here think the town needs any guarantee on project?
What we done in the past, have we asked for one on another one?
Very seldom, you know,
Yeah.
if it's questionable on, we think it's questionable on finances, we might ask for something, but it doesn't happen too often.
So this is a smaller project estimated at under $400,000 in cost.
Gee, you can't build a house with that.
I can promise you don't want to live there.
I'm okay with not getting one, unless everybody else wants. I'll go with majority. I'll agree with majority on that.
Anybody else have any discussion or anything else that might be in here?
No, I don't.
Anybody see any reason why there needs to be a public hearing held?
The letters went out and everything.
They've gone out twice now.
Yeah,
No, I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so.
I'll take a moment and ask anybody here wants to speak either way in the audience. No? Okay. Well, I guess we'll waive the public hearing. Does somebody entertain a motion with the conditions on the stormwater and DOT entrance?
I'll make those.
Walter makes a motion to approve the plan.
I'll second it.
And that's with the stormwater and DOT conditions.
Yep.
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, passes. I guess you got the next hurdle through. Now just gotta wait for the weather, probably.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time tonight.
okay, you can contact town if you need any help.
Will do.
Thank you.
very much. Have a good one.
Yep. Next item on the agenda, 7 discussion items. First one is rezoning consideration for William Barnett, Stinson Ave. To go from residential to commercial to establish a small fitness center. What was it on this, Catherine, we need to go through?
Yes, I made a list of items we need to resolve. This specific property was two parcels before and then got put together. We couldn't find the assessment card, but I did dig through the cards and found it misfiled, so I got the history now. So I know what lot it needs to be and can verify that. It'll need to, if you continue on, it'll need to be listed for 354 Stinson Street. It's map 24, lot 19-20. He had combined 18 and 20 for tax savings. They used to be two separate lots, so I've searched that back. Once we did the data conversion with the financial program, which takes care of the real estate, it's hard to go back in and get any information, but I have all the information. So we will have the correct map and lot number, map 24, lot 19-20. Right now, everything is combined into lot 18, and he'll have to separate those lots. It'll be 354 Stinson Avenue. But we are going to have a map, which hopefully Joel can put together for us, that shows exactly what will happen in the lot, that goes in the legal notices that are posted and in the paper. I tried to put in one where the tax maps, which I had to cut out because his come to a corner where there's 4 tax maps and all the lots and everything. And then I tried to shrink it down, and you just couldn't see it for the legal ad. It wouldn't have been proper. So I stopped at that point.
Do we know if, when lots go back to the individual lots, if the buildings will be okay as far as setbacks?
The building got a building permit a few years ago, so it should meet the setback.
But it was all one lot at that point.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know, if a lot gets split again, are we going to create an illegal lot? Or not an illegal lot, but, you know.
The building inspector will have to check that out.
Okay.
All right. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, because I'm not, familiar where the lot, the original line might have been. Because it has to go back to the original line, or can that be modified?
That's what the building inspector is going to have to check on.
Okay.
And as you know, we have a building inspector for 5 hours a week because of the lack of building inspectors in this whole area. But I'll have him work on it on Friday.
Okay. Anybody else have more discussion items on this? Questions?
So is it, which lots specifically are getting rezoned?
The one that they're looking at to be rezoned will be 19-20, which is actually part of 19-18. The taxpayer had purchased the lot 20 and combined it with his 18 and built a property, but...
What about the larger lot just south of there, 22-9? Because, otherwise it's just going to be a floating zone on its own, but if we just extended the zone to include the 22-9, which is south of it, the large one, which I guess it's kind of got the...
Part of where the bowling alley used to be, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'd have to double check. We thought from the last meeting that was in the commercial area already, but I brought the map down.
Yeah, I think brought up on mine, that one's...
Was that what that's up there?
Yes, so we can double check what we're doing.
Refresh myself.
Yeah. And that was in residential as well as mine.
This is where all the maps come together and the lot breaks up.
That's the one I was wondering about.
Right.
That's the big one. That's in residential. And then this is the one that we're looking at.
So this is where he lives, him and her live right there.
So it's a square one and a triangle one? Or,
I think it's both of them. Yeah.
Right.
What are these ones?
But I'm going to say, I just wondered about this one, because otherwise those would just be floating, right?
So we're saying these two are combined already?
Right.
Okay.
And see, there my question was, if that line goes back in, is that gonna be, building close to,
So where do they live now, that one?
yeah, the house is in
this one? 18?
Catherine, which one does he, where's the house property?
All right, the house property is, let me check here, I was on the side. It is 18, 20 is the
okay, so,
land that was acquired. When-
So they live in 18?
Yes,
Okay.
and the barn is on 20, according to the cards.
yeah, so that 19-1. Maybe that wasn't part of the bowling alley lot.
I would say no.
Right.
I think that's the parcel Joel's talking about,
Right.
22.9.
It would end up being floating.
That's what I mean. I was thinking if we were going to extend the zone, then we would just extend it up from that lot and then up so that you don't have a floating
Right.
lot. It's a different zone. Than
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
extend it all the way up to,
No, not 18, just
not
20.
18, just.
The larger one. So 22.9.
So Joel's saying this big lot here,
Right.
this is 22.9. This
That's
triangular one is 19.1 and 19.20. So
Right.
these three would become,
all the same zone.
what is this
Well-
zone here, green is?
Town Center District, C-1, Highway Commercial District, C-2.
Is that? So this, no, I think this is the town center.
Okay,
These two colors are too close.
and that's,
That's
yeah,
the other one.
That should be the highway one.
Right.
Yes.
Highway commercial.
Highway Commercial District, C2.
Right. Bowling alley, right here. Yes, bowling alley should be, should have been in this area here.
The aerial photo. I don't know if I don't think it's quite up to date with the new building on there, but obviously that's the
Well, that's where the building,
that's the older houses, and then they put it in this new.
that's where the bowling alley used to be. Okay, so I understand that.
The bowling alley commercial or?
According to this,
It's residential now, which is why
I remember that from,
Forgot that lot
when I
also.
first came, in the sense of looking that up, that I was checking whether or not that was commercial.
which,
They thought, what I remember is they thought it was commercial.
yeah,
And we looked
I
at
would
it.
have assumed it would have been. That was probably before they worried about all the zones.
Right.
The bowling alley's been going now for what, 25?
It's not a problem till it's a problem.
Do we know who owns 19.1?
Well, I think that's,
They did,
yeah. but
right?
I think
No.
these, the way I understood it, he lives in this one, he owns all three of them.
Oh,
These two are combined into
And
that.
garage on both on,
yeah, okay.
I think 19-1 doesn't exist anymore, it's part of 1920 now. Is that right, Catherine?
I don't remember 19-1 on the list when I tried to run these out.
No, because all he has in here is 18 and 20. And 18 and 20, I think that's a separate lot.
Maybe.
That's actually.
Which ownership are we wondering about?
It's-
19-1.
19-1 is a separate lot, but I couldn't get it to run out of the program.
I was just curious on,
I'll check the tax committee.
So you're not sure who owns that right now?
No, I'm gonna have to do more research.
now Joel's gonna look up and see if it shows on tax. Because it's possible they could be.
Because that would also be included.
Well,
in the
it
rezoning.
would make sense.
Yeah.
Just because otherwise,
Exactly.
otherwise it's its own little island.
Right.
Oh, it needs to be included. I wouldn't agree to just skipping over that and not having that all continued.
But then,
That would be cool.
what if the homeowner doesn't?
Oh, there's no house there?
I know, the landowner.
Oh, well then we'd have to have a public hearing.
Can I say that plot number again?
19-1.
Would that make a difference in property value or anything like that? I mean, would
Possibly.
it affect their taxes? I'm
Yeah.
going to.
I'm not the assessor, but, you know.
Yeah, likely.
What do you want?
Yeah.
That's the lot number.
It's in the Trumbull County anyways.
24, 19,
24?
Yeah, it's, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
those are just the lot numbers. We need the map number also.
We'll be back to the map in a few minutes.
Yeah, they're gonna put the bowling alley.
Well,
Or just that.
Yeah, I'm not finding one listed.
more discussion.
Yeah.
002 is the first one that comes up for 19.
So that,
And that's 188 Rainbow.
The bowling alley, though, that cuts over into residential, I think, though, right?
right,
Yeah.
on there, it's listed as
It
residential,
is residential there, but, okay.
you know, but I think possibly bowling alley, you know,
It's gotta be used as commercial now.
I would think so.
Right.
But as the way it's listed right now, they can build houses there.
Right, that was, right.
Kathy, you on that drawing?
19.1 has a small garage on it.
I've got just one here.
No, that's okay, that's all right. Don't keep it.
It does.
It should be in there.
That little metal garage?
Stuck in mine.
That was the one double.
It's a wooden garage that they
It
made.
actually stuck to
Sided.
the
Oh,
Yeah, you're right. So right,
It's a
that-
small
All right,
single
thank you.
garage that was there before he bought
Put
the
that,
property
right.
and put the Taj Mahal in.
Okay, so it's still there, isn't it?
It's still
Yeah, I
there.
think
They need a
yeah.
storage
Do you know who the owner is
What's the
of
same?
that one?
of that little garage?
That should be
It's the
his
same person.
because it was with the trailer.
Joe, you
that
can't
was
find out
on
the owner
that
of 1921?
property.
Okay.
It wouldn't come up, but it has to do
I
with the
think
Yeah.
number
it's
zeros. I'll get it.
But
It just is gonna take time.
He
When the data
maintains that
conversion took
area.
place, it put
That's
extra
his
zeros in some of the packet lines.
from my point of view,
Right, right.
I don't know tax-wise or
Right,
anything
yeah.
like that. But what she brought up about if this changes the taxation, or does it change the taxation of the property around it if it goes from residential to commercial? I mean, how does that affect the residential area?
I guess I don't know if I can answer that correctly. but-
It's an assessing question. I
Right.
mean, I think they only really assess on technically what's on the property. I don't think they take into account the zone that it's in.
Right, the state law allows the taxing by a chart that determines the market value for similar items. So commercial items are taxed differently than the residential. So just because the residential is down the road or beside it, it doesn't mean that it's higher in value until somebody shows up who wants to buy more land along the area and the people can sell it for a higher price. That's happened in a number of areas, but it shouldn't affect the taxes because it's still residential.
So is commercial billed at a different mill rate than residential?
It'll have a different value so that it'll be the same mill rate, but it'll be on a different chart, so its square footage is higher value than a residence.
So if it was 100,000 for a residential and then it was commercial here and it was rated at 200,000, they'd still get the same mill rate.
Same mill
But
rate, but
they're
higher
higher
tax.
tax.
Double, yeah.
But that was the question I had about
Yeah.
18, if someone owns that privately and they're just thrown into a commercial zone.
That's their property.
They're
We weren't
asking
gonna
for
take-
it.
Yeah,
He's the
the
applicant.
people that are doing that.
19-18 is the applicant.
Yes.
He owns both those lots.
Yes.
The
Okay.
confusion is that this all got put together, and when you follow the record up, you can't figure out exactly what went on until I got into the older versions of the financial tax system. So it all was two separate lots. He had the house, and then bought the land, and then got it put together, and then got a building permit for the barn.
Yeah.
So the chairman has a very legitimate question. Yes, because I found all the documents on Friday, which shows the history of what went on. Then I knew what to look up.
Well, thank you, Catherine, for doing that.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't do it sooner. I'm covering like 7
Well,
jobs.
so that brings up a question I have. Are we 100% sure that this applicant is going to come back to us and want to take and put this place into a fitness center
We
when this
know,
gets all done?
he's been into the town office several times about this, but before we went forward and did the actual legal notices, I think we would double check with him. Plus this question too, to make sure that we got the right setbacks if he splits up the lots again.
So is your question that he had a different type of business?
Well, no, that to
No.
me,
Maybe he knew
to
his
me,
taxes
if we're gonna go,
would
if
be
the
down.
town's gonna spend time and money, effort when maybe it isn't a priority right now, and this applicant all of a sudden says, no, I don't wanna do this anyways, and washes his hands of it. I mean, is it a bonus for the town to have these 3 lots become commercial versus keeping them residential for future use, or? I mean, he would have to, it would be if he didn't do something for an income, his tax rate for that lot would change, right?
The
Because
value of the lot would be
it's different, looked at differently.
Based
It's
on
commercial.
Because
versus
technically the building, possibly the building he built as a garage goes, and the property turns to a commercial property. Now that's a commercial building instead of just a residential garage.
Right.
So in theory, the value of that building has gone up and taxes might go up.
Yeah, there's a fee to pay for the rezoning, and we would not advertise it until the fee was paid.
The fee paid by whom?
Anybody who requests a rezoning has a fee of I think it's $342 for the legal ads. It's a lot more now, but
Sure.
at the time we set it, that's what it was set at.
Sure.
So we keep it that way.
We wouldn't get compensated for the full amount that we,
No, that's what the fee is.
I see.
But if we're going to have more of these, and we've already had a couple other people ask about it, we'll reassess the fee for the actual amount.
Yeah, that makes
Legal
sense.
notices have almost doubled, in the last 6 or 7
Right.
months.
Anything in the paper, I did obituaries there last month. I couldn't believe. Two obituaries were like almost $800.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's a sad thing.
Yeah. So I guess say it again. Do we want to continue with this before double checking again with the applicant?
Well,
that he is going to
I
proceed.
think Catherine said that, that's.
We would, yeah.
They would do that before.
Okay.
Basically, at this point, we're just going over a few things and get to that point that if we're going to continue to a public hearing on this, but, I think someone needs to check with them on if that lot gets split like we're saying it needs to be. If that building is going to be too close to the property line, which will make it not really illegal, but, not to code or not to setbacks. The setback would be wrong, depending on where that building is to where the line has to go back.
So I'd like to just clarify this because I'm confused about, you just said there are 3 lots. There are
Yes,
3
that's
lots.
how I see it.
He owns 2.
Well,
Or does he own all 3 that we see?
they're going to confirm that he owns 2.
Well,
So
we
if he
know that he owns the 2 that are put together as
That are
one.
inside.
Right.
There's still that.
Oh,
one
that little one on the end, we're not
Yeah.
sure.
Right.
Audience member thinks that it's possible he owns it, but we'll have to double
I
check
see.
that.
I feel he utilizes it as his own.
You know,
And previously-
because you mow a lawn doesn't mean you
It-
own the property.
Previously, before he bought the property that the garage is on,
Uh-huh.
it was all one lot, a trailer
Oh,
and
I
a
see,
single
I see.
garage.
Yeah.
And it is assumed that when they
Okay.
bought the lot, that he also bought the single garage because he's done some work on
I guess
it.
that would need to be clarified as well then, Catherine, because
Yes.
there's a tax issue there. I don't know.
Yeah, I have that on my list anyway. I tried to run it before the meeting. and
Sure.
It has more zeros in it than it's supposed to have. But it's in there.
You've just got to stop going home and sleeping at night.
I know.
So we finish this one?
Yes. I just,
Did we determine if we're going to rezone that area, are we going to rezone the large lot to the south of there as well? Because otherwise it's connected to
Oh,
the existing.
I won't agree to it if it doesn't if it's not continuous.
I know it doesn't make any sense. That's literally spot zoning.
Right.
If it's,
I'm not gonna agree to that, but all, the big one and the two little ones all continuous, it's not, I'm not just gonna, so.
Yeah.
That's mine,
And then-
unless I get educated differently.
Is he talking about bowling alley?
Yeah, basically bowling
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
So are you saying the one that the residences on would also be commercial?
No.
No.
Where the bowling alley used to be behind,
Oh, yes.
you know, that
yes.
open lot there where they
Sure.
park some trailers and things, you know. And
And
then,
that's not zone commercial?
not according to the map,
Wow.
but
well,
I,
I think it's because it incorporates that residence on Raymond on the. That's all still part of the same lot.
That's that trailer, right?
Yeah,
That's owned all that, right?
I think so. And that's,
Yeah,
I think
that
it's all one lot. That's probably
Yeah.
actually residential.
Yeah.
There was a trailer park at one time,
Yeah.
and it shows on that one that has to do with a storage unit. If you go back to that, it shows what 22. Can't see that small print. 1828, 98, something like that.
yeah, so that would make a difference on potentially the person owns that large lot. They might not be in favor of,
Exactly. Yeah.
so.
Unless the zone bisects that lot to go and reach the other two, so then the eastern side of the lot would stay in residential and the western side, but in Stinson, would change to make that connection.
So can we require the applicant to provide this information or help us? So it seems like we're doing an awful lot of work for the applicant.
Good point.
And we're talking about parcels that we don't even know who owns them.
Essentially, normally the engineering firm would do all this homework.
Exactly.
Engineering firm or lawyer, you know,
And I don't want
real
to
estate.
create a hardship, but
Right,
It's all
What do you
after
think,
the fact
Kathy?
now, isn't it?
well,
Kind of sort of.
Normally, it's not this complicated. This is where certain maps come together. The tax maps don't match up here. And we did have the data conversion in which sometimes you can't run the lot numbers the way you should. You gotta put all these different zeros in different places, you know, but there is a taxable lot for 2419-1. I just don't know who owns it right now, but once I run 7 or 8 different versions, I'll get it. So
You
we
are
do
so
know.
patient, Catherine, you're so patient, all right.
We
So-
do know.
You can determine if his building meets the setbacks, if they divide those lots again.
I think that's one of the first things we
That's
need
a
to look
good
at.
question.
And then, if not, then you have to what, if that asks for a variance for his own lot? Is that how?
Well, you shouldn't be able to divide the lots if they're not legal lots. That's the danger
Right,
of
I think
merging.
you have to keep it together and then the issue goes away.
Can you refresh my memory? When we started this process, didn't they come in looking for what do we call it, non-conforming use?
Yes, they wanted to do a
And then
conditional
aren't we the
use.
ones that are pushing towards rezoning? So I think there's a line there that we may be crossing. We're asking them to do more than they actually wanted to get involved
Well,
with.
we had to go,
Well, didn't the lawyer suggest that?
Yes, the town attorney, we thought we could do a conditional use because we have approved similar items before in the past. However, when the town attorney looked at this, they said, you should not have done this, and the town has done it for like 40 years, but not many. So then that pushed it toward being a rezoning at that point, which is much more complicated.
under the non-conforming list, if I remember right, there wasn't anything in there listed as being acceptable
Correct.
for a,
Yeah,
to be a conforming.
there is no path to get in there because there was a list of non-conforming ones that are allowed in zones, and it wasn't on that list, and it
Right, wasn't
close
on
to-
that
close to any of those
list.
type of uses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So that's how we got
The
to
whole
that.
process as we've worked through it right now pushes me in the direction of non-conforming use. There's so many complications here. If he wants to use that building for a specific purpose, and we say, yeah, you can use it for this, then that's it. And if something happens and he's not going to do that anymore, nothing else can go in there.
That's what we thought, yes.
So I lean towards non-conforming personally.
I mean,
It seems to make more sense in this situation.
the
The
option
non-conforming is out altogether because it's not, there's nothing on that list to say it's conforming under the residential,
I understand that. I understand that.
okay.
I still lean in that direction, especially as this gets more and more complicated.
Well, the only other option then is to obviously, well, I mean, say that any kind of development permit would be denied because it's not zoned for that use, and then I suppose that's why they're asking for the change of use and the rezoning. And I don't know, I'll see if I can find out if, I mean, the petition to rezone doesn't necessarily have to be approved either, does it? I mean, I suppose there has to be a good reason.
Yeah, as I noted, these are usually not this complicated. It's all the maps coming together, the lot getting combined.
I still don't understand, you guys are talking about a lots being combined. I don't understand that, I'm sorry. What lots are being combined?
Well, they were combined. They had been separate. Now they're combined, and he wants to separate them again.
Right,
Have his
he needs to
residential
separate it
and-
to keep the two.
And the business.
I still don't understand that. I don't see which lot is?
Yeah, it's not reflected on the tax maps because those maps haven't been updated to show that those N2, the two N ones, were combined. So if you erase that line that bisects them,
But 19.18, where his house is now, that wasn't combined.
It was combined with 19-20, which is the vacant land that he purchased. And then he built a barn, or there might have been something on there, it wasn't listed as anything.
Okay.
And then to
Okay.
save tax dollars, because he wouldn't have two separate lots taxed with a building on it, he combined them. Which now they're combined, you can't have your house be a commercial, we're not gonna do that because there's a lot of houses there. So we have to separate them.
That's how it's separated. Thank you for.
So the deed,
I was
the deed
missing
shows it
that.
combined.
That's okay, you weren't at the
Right,
meeting
must
when
have
this
been-
all started.
Huh?
You weren't at the meeting when this all started.
I understand that. So now the other part of it is to understand where 19.1 comes in to 19.20, whether that is combined with 1920?
Right.
I don't believe it is,
Okay, we don't believe it is.
but I will double check.
Okay.
I believe
All
it's
right.
a separate property owner, I just don't have the name right here.
Thank you for explaining that. I didn't realize in this conversation that 1918 was part of, so that's going to be separated. And then 1920 is going to be the plan is looking to have a commercial lot there, 19.1, and then whatever the number is on M22, that one will be commercial, so that it's continuous.
Right.
So,
I don't know, I hesitate a little bit on bringing this up. When that building was started being built 4 years or so ago, I don't know the exact date, I had a number of people ask me what was going on there, knowing that I was on the planning board, and I said I had no idea because it never came before us.
well, we talked about that when he was here, Brenton, yeah, in the sense of it.
And I hate to talk about rumors, but there was rumors that's what his plan was on that building back then. I can't verify it, but the rumors were. And then COVID hit and everything went out the window.
Right.
So the proposed use on the building permit states garage.
Right. I'm just saying, that's why I hate to bring up rumors, because rumors are rumors. But,
Well, I asked him directly, and he did say garage. But he also has in his home garage a gym in his attached garage to his home, which he has been utilizing for years. So I wonder if that's what he's going to use as the small gym.
no.
Because that garage looks like an auditorium.
Are you a neighbor over there?
I am.
Okay. And what's your name, please?
Jenny Hart?
Okay.
So what you're saying is that the garage that's attached to his house is what he's been using?
For years.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because you can hear
As a
all the
gym.
grunting and groaning and everything. Because evidently, when you
It's
lift
either that or
weights, you
something
have to
else.
hear that. I mean, I don't know. I don't lift weights, so I don't know anything about the gym. So.
Do you live right next door to them, or?
I live in the backyard.
Oh,
The
yeah,
Taj
that's
Mahal is my backyard.
Backyard.
She's
Isn't it
close enough to
beautiful?
hear the groaning and the grunting. That's basically what I don't want to hear is the groaning and everything.
That's all I don't care about anything else.
So, I guess, going back to Corey's thing, I mean, are we, my brain is starting to wrap this better, I should have been more prepared. So he has put in an application, request for consideration of town code change. So this is the application, this is what he's given us to present here. Is that, with that though, there's no backup in the sense of
I did.
him doing the research? Should he be doing the research with this application?
Did he pay this fee?
Not yet.
That is my point, Mike. And this storage building, we have a plan, a site plan, and you know what you're dealing
That's
with.
what, I guess that's what I'm finally grabbing a hold of.
Normally, this isn't that complicated, so we can do it, but we do need a little map if we're gonna go forward. So the question that the chairman had needs to be answered, and then if that's fine, and it's not an issue, then I assume you would go forward if he pays his fee.
So are we going to require him to come forward with more information in the sense of?
I did ask him for more information. I said it would behoove him in getting his submittal in and moving forward to have more information.
Oh, you have asked?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Because at some point, if we're moving forward, that building has to be okayed for, that people being using it. So, sewer, electric, and parking, and
It'll have to be a site.
There'll
Site-
be a
site plan
part.
review,
Yeah, site plan part.
And they probably won't do any of that until they know if they can.
Right, they
Move forward.
get the
Who's that?
change or the approval. All right, so a little bit more homework on this more complicated zoning requirement. So we've moved along a bit here.
Well, I was just thinking about, I mean, like I say, making the connection to the other zone so that it's not an island. I mean, we could bisect that large lot, the old bowling alley lot, so that it follows the line of the back of their lots and then goes down and connects.
I would say we need to contact that lot owner.
Yeah, they're going to see what, because obviously they've got a residential building on that lot.
Right.
And then
They could be in their interest or not.
Yeah, they
So they would have to sign, sign off on the zone change?
We would want a paper from them too, yes. If we're gonna add property
Oh, I
here,
see. Okay.
we would want them to sign on.
That's what you were saying about skipping that, over that one, and just have those.
Well, if you skip over it, it just makes it a more complicated map.
Right.
Because then down the road, someone was going to say, well, that's commercial. Why can't I be commercial?
Well, it's like what we just did with 19 over on the next thing. The next one we're going to look at. That was right, in the sense of.
Yeah. We're going to.
Well, I guess that's in the residential.
Yeah. Discussion item B will be
Yeah, right.
this all over again.
All right.
All right, so Joel, I will check on with the building inspector and then contact you when we're moving forward here and we know that he has a proper lot and everything.
Yeah, I can
Provide it back up.
And I can, whatever it ends up being, I can make the map so all clear.
Yes, thank
if it
you.
comes to that. Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
No problem.
Catherine, can I ask you about what this is pertaining to?
That goes along with the site plan application for the KO storage.
Okay.
That's just part of it.
If nothing else on that one, we'll go to item 7B. Same thing, but different rezoning consideration for Adam Friend, Robert Trask, vacant property of North Main Street, residential to commercial.
So this one has not been split or anything, only one other map behind them. All of the abutters were notified
But-
of both meetings
From the original meeting,
from the
he
original.
wanted to add the second lot
Yes, he
to it.
wanted to add another lot, but that's owned by somebody else. And so I sent them the paper and said, you're talking about this property, go see if they're interested.
I thought he said it was owned by the same person.
It is not owned by the
Okay,
Friends.
well, that's what was.
Yes, we did find that out.
Okay.
And to do some research, there was a trailer on that big parcel years ago.
The only other thing I find it interesting that Adam Friend owns the property and we have not seen him.
That's one other item also.
Have you talked to these people?
I've talked to them several times, they're
How
very,
recent
very,
have you talked to them? You want to be put on this? It's been the last 7 days?
a little bit over that.
Because generally,
Through a little birdie, I heard that they may not be building there.
That may be true. Yeah.
well,
This was always a iffy. Yeah, they were clear at the last meeting that this was something they were exploring.
So should we go on with this tonight? And
well,
take
we can still discuss it.
It's like the other one, we need to clarify a few things.
But one of the issues I had was this person is in, it's not his property. The person who owns the property hasn't said two words to us. And I would think that either he or a legal representative of his should be pursuing this more than someone that potentially wants to do something on it.
Well, I've had contact with the proposed tenant, who's very helpful to the town on
Right.
a number of items. There's been no contact with the actual owner at all. I've sent emails and information, but there's been no contact back.
Right.
So I guess I'll put it on. I'll make a motion that before doing anything further here with this, we should get a application for rezoning from the owner of the property.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I agree. I think we're going to just spin our wheels, and if he doesn't do anything, we've just wasted a lot of time.
Not that I'm enjoying.
No, I
I'm
understand.
company right now. That's all I'm talking.
Well, just efficiency,
No, that's fine, and that's why they're still together too. I will say that we've mentioned the possibility of a rezoning being reviewed, and people have gotten kind of upset about that area having a commercial business going in. It's all residential.
Was that part? I got thinking about this the other day. Was that part of the hospital overlay district?
No.
It has to be.
Only on the other side.
No, it's the other side of the road.
Okay.
Yeah, it would have to be medical too.
Right. Because I know we dealt with that with.
Yeah, it was on the other
Okay.
side.
I just couldn't remember from my maps in my mind if it went on both sides or not.
I did do the research and found that it was listed under Tractor Supply until 3 years ago. And that's when it was put into the trust.
Or Ford tractor, Pittsfield tractor.
Yes.
Okay.
I wonder which zone they'd even asked them to rezone it to, because, some of those other residential districts, would any of the residential districts allow that kind of use?
No.
Because otherwise, again, it would just be a spot zone of a completely different,
All right.
which I don't think that's, the whole idea of this is going to be consistent with the comprehensive plan about understanding where sensible land use, and if it's just a spot that you're saying that is going to be changed to allow commercial use right in the middle of 3 residential zones, it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. It did. Personally, it didn't look like it fit the zone or the neighborhood.
I'd say there's something to be said. If there's always a commercial zone that you're just kind of moving over a little bit.
Right.
That's a bit more common sense than just dropping a commercial zone that's surrounded by
Right.
all residential on 3 sides, all sides.
Yeah, this is why it says pre-discussion on comprehensive plan, which you're having.
Because essentially, I think the building that was on there has been gone for 40 years, close to 40 years, give or take. And so, from that point on, it's the only thing that's done there is have yard sales essentially.
Yeah, but like I say, without an official position, there's not much to talk about because they don't really know what they're asking for.
Right.
It's funny because that lot kind of looks commercial because it's got that place where all the trucks were parking and the concrete and all that stuff. And it is right in the middle. It must be that was the concrete that the building was on.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think you could put some nice housing on there if you
Because that was part of Friend Motor Sales
Right,
for
right.
It was
years.
commercial at one time.
And then
Yeah.
when the Pittsfield Tractor Company, they stopped selling farm equipment,
Yeah.
it turned into, I think, the auto body shop for Pittsfield Motor Sales, I think it was, paint and body shop for,
Yeah.
then it burned at some point
Sure.
in possibly the late 80s or something.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do some more research, and then bring this back if it's going anyplace, or one of them, or any of them.
Yeah, if they're really serious, they really ought to.
And what we can do too is take the rezoning, the sheet that's used for rezoning of ordinances and zones, and maybe develop it a little bit more.
Increase your fee.
Yes, we'll do that.
Catherine, I have to ask while I'm thinking. News on our iPads.
All right, I can get you an iPad, but I'm having budget issues.
Okay.
All right, we got a lot of unintended expenses that have come up. It's never, the budget got cut back so much in different places, this didn't actually work.
But this was included in the budget.
It was, but
Yeah.
that budget has issues. The
Oh,
overall
I see.
budget, that
Yeah.
budget. The council's fitting some items in there that normally wouldn't be there through need.
Sounds like Biden's budget. Or the governor's budget.
It normally isn't, but this year it might be. But if you needed one, I can get you one.
No. If we're not going to do it as a group, it would kind of be silly.
At some point.
Yeah.
Anybody else on the council have any?
Yeah, there's a motion, right?
To adjourn?
Oh,
No, not a motion.
Table. Your motion, sorry about
On
that.
the,
Oh, I thought we all agreed to that, no?
Well,
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
so restate your motion, Burke, everybody.
Jeez. I make a motion,
To
where is it?
basically verify.
I make a motion that the rezoning consideration for the Adam Friend and Robert Trask property be not looked at until the owner of the property actually submits a application for rezoning.
Okay. Any more discussion?
I second that.
Okay. Walter, Oliver.
Third.
No more discussion? If not, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Any other discussion?
Well, if you're done with that, I think your next, I'd like to ask a few questions.
That's where I was coming next. Somebody else on the board, I was going to the audience.
All right.
And what's your name, please?
My name's Tim Ames. I own Ames Home Center in Canaan. The company that I'm representing today is Ames Real Estate Enterprise. I'd like to put an application in. I haven't done anything with the application. Today's my first day of having enough time. So I want to put a subdivision in, so that should be easy for you guys. Out on Route 2, just past the solar array, Chimbrow Solar Array, heading towards Canaan, right across the street from the blue buildings, which I think it might be a grow house now,
Right in where the cornfields are?
where the cornfields are.
Are both of them?
No,
Just the
the
long,
new,
long narrow one?
right, new double wide right
Yeah.
there, and I have a road entrance going. You've seen it, you've probably seen it. There's a road entrance going into the field. It's a 5-lot subdivision, private road, 5-lot subdivision. So, having here some of your discussion, is that type of development required by a public hearing?
Yes, it would.
Yes.
Yeah.
So time-wise, number one, I don't know where to find the application other than coming into the town to pick one up. I don't see it online anywhere. So I'm assuming there must be a packet somewhere that I can pick up.
Yes, so that you can meet with the building inspector. He comes in on Friday afternoons.
Who is the building inspector now?
Al Tempesta,
Okay.
he covered 6.
I know Al. Yeah.
Steve Seekins was for a number of years and he retired.
What's that?
Steve Seekins had been for a number of years.
Yeah, I know Steve also.
Yeah. Steve retired and it's been roller coaster since.
Yeah, and I've been on that roller coaster because I put homes in this town.
Right. I live in one. I'm not saying good or bad, I just say.
Did you say a roller coaster?
No, I live in one. We purchased a home from his company, I think 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
With acres.
Yeah.
That was a while, yeah, that was a while ago. That, way past my memory. So,
And I know there are subdivision, have you looked through the subdivision rules and stuff through the town?
only because of I've subdivided numerous properties over the years.
Right.
I've not looked at specifically
Right.
these rules here, but my expectation they're similar to everybody else, to a point.
I can't say because I haven't looked at them personally for a while, so I just won't say. But I know we do have rules in place. I just don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, well, yeah. Whatever the rules are, that's what we'll go by. But it just, I've tried actually. I've been so busy that I've tried to find some people to help me. This part of the paperwork bores me, truthfully, because I have too much other things going on. So
Well, thank you for sitting through our meeting tonight.
it was interesting. I enjoyed that part of
Do
it.
we keep it there somewhat entertaining?
Yeah, it was nice. The literally, I just
I have a couple of little quick questions.
Sure.
Would these would be sold as individual lots, private ownership?
correct.
Yeah. And with the road going in would be one road for multiple places.
One road for 5 homes.
Is there
6 homes.
Is there an association or
There
something?
will be an association.
Okay.
So what is it, acre lots?
What's that?
Is it acre?
Yeah, a little over an acre, because the width of the property allows it. We've got 200 feet of frontage on the private road, so each home would have a frontage on the private road, and then so they'll all be an acre and well, I have some plans here. I can actually look at them.
So well and septic for each lot.
Well, and septic on each lot. This is everybody would own their own property.
Yeah.
Most of the lots are 1.5 acres. So there's, if you can, there's just,
The road would be on the west side of the property, correct?
what's that?
The road would be on the west side of the property?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you see, Route 2 is here,
Yeah.
road up the side.
The left end to it's on the right.
To go all the way through to
Yeah,
the
so if that first field, the trail ends
No,
down there.
that ends wherever.
I know, yeah,
And Reed owns the property all around it. I don't know if you
It would
know
all
Ken Reed.
probably work well because it was decent.
He's, he owns it. He was the one that owned it.
No, not.
He originally owned all the cornfields, and then he made he sold the lot to somebody. There was a mobile home on that lot for quite a few years. That person moved away, and his brother owned it from out of state. The brother called me and wanted to buy a home and put it up as a spec home. So and he said he thought he could make it sell better, and if you put a home there. And I asked him, well, what are you asking for the lot? So he sold me the front lot that already had a well and septic for a reasonable price, and because I'm looking at it was 11, like a 10-acre lot with enough frontage to get a lot in front plus a road. So to make it more affordable for everybody else, the idea would be instead of a 10-acre lot, it'd be 6 1.5-acre lots. So it makes it affordable.
And we've had some discussion over the last few years on, building lots, people wanting to move to Pittsfield having available lots, and the problem is a lot of lots are numerous acres and most people either can't afford or don't want to buy a 50-acre lot.
Right. When I'm looking around for properties, I look for homes, properties that can be split, that reasonably split, that one person, like this particular case, is a pretty good deal because he sold me a house lot, a 10-acre lot, like it was a 1-acre lot.
Right.
So I jumped at that one.
So it's probably won't be a problem. You got a DOT entrance.
I already have a DOT.
You've had a perk for a septic and all
Yes,
that.
all that. I have perk test, it's all surveyed, I had an entrance permit. I've got Central Maine Power getting ready. I've got my new gen's going to set poles, and so I'm pushing this forward.
Right.
And I said, well, I best I look. So today I finally looked online. I said, when's the planning board meet? And I said, oh, today. So then I did call, and they told me that it was all Zoom meetings. On your website,
Yes.
on your website it says meetings are Zoom meetings.
Oh, you could have joined by Zoom, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I called, and the first person told me, yes, it's a Zoom meeting. And then I got the email from Catherine, I assume that was you,
Yeah.
and saying that it was open to public as well. There'll be an opportunity to see who's here, and might recognize somebody.
The public meetings are, in-person meetings
It's much better.
are much better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, he's ready to sign the paperwork.
I'm ready to go.
So, Jim, unlike the rezoning in which there's no local regulations, as you can see,
Right.
the subdivision ordinance is on the town website, and we can get you a copy of it. It's very specific, step by step, so it'll tell you exactly what needs to be
Sure.
done.
I looked, I tried to look, but the one of the papers that I looked at, 605 pages. So I didn't bother.
Yeah, you just print out what you need, like you click on the page you want and
Yeah,
print out different sections.
yeah, I'll do that.
Don't say print all.
Yeah, I just haven't had the time, or sometimes it just takes an amount of concentration to get more specific. Truthfully, the housing business is booming. At least
If you can find a place to put it.
that's the key.
Yeah, that's great.
So I have,
It's great for the town, too.
I've been, through the pandemic and stuff, I've been looking for lots to be able to subdivide.
Is that just a survey you have there, or is that
Yeah.
just a site plan? It's just a survey? Yep.
This is the survey here. Well, it's all pin, all the survey is done, the pins are all in, the lots are,
So your surveyor must know what you need for frontage. He must have got all the requirements and got that.
oh yeah.
Okay.
We did enough research to know what the rules were, but
Okay.
it's been,
Yeah.
I started this last year, then winter came and the surveyor went to Florida. He takes a couple months off.
I don't blame him.
So,
Gotcha.
so that was part of it, and so now I just gotta,
Yep.
but I did, I started going forward, I had this, I had this, the soil test done, and I got the DOT, entrance permit. I did all those things up front with the idea that I was gonna push this along, but I just got busy doing other things. So it's a one thing. I guess the question, to have the public hearing, you only meet once a month, but if I put the application in, over, say, the next week and a half or so, would you have a public hearing at the next meeting? How does that get set up?
They'd have to see your application.
Yeah, we'd have to go look through the application and then determine
decide
if we deem a public hearing necessary.
So you meet once a month?
Right. Normally, it's the second Monday of the month. This month was mixed up a little bit. Are we the second?
No, this is the second
This is
Monday.
Monday.
So I put the application in, you review it at the August meeting.
Right.
And then if it was going to be a public hearing, it would be in September? Or it would be,
Unless we have a special meeting.
Special meeting, why wouldn't we?
Yeah, we
No,
could-
that's
yeah,
what
we
I
could.
was supposed to do.
Or we could decide not to have a public hearing, right?
Right.
At that, if we'd had that special meeting, they decided not to have it, to
Right.
help move that along.
yeah.
Are you gonna get a site plan done with
I
an
think you'd have to
engineer,
have a
or
public meeting
A site plan?
a site plan?
for development.
Or you just, with the grading and all that other stuff, or?
200 feet.
If I need one, but I don't think I need one.
Okay, well, that's,
It's about as flat as you can get out there.
okay.
And all the water will drain towards the road.
Yeah, because you go through that site plan review, and that, or, sometimes sketches of work, or
Right.
sketch on there would be work.
Yeah,
I'm familiar with that land. I farmed it for a number of years ago.
yeah.
Well,
long time.
The reason I was asking, you had to get a site plan with an engineer, I mean, it's quite a lead time to get someone to do it.
Yeah,
Yes, the engineers are all back.
Yeah,
unless you know one.
Unless you know one, you know what it is, yeah.
Your connection,
know
connections
well.
never hurt.
Yeah. Well, we deal with them every day somewhere, usually, but yeah, well, if it takes what it takes.
Yeah.
Would a special meeting help them, or?
Well, it probably would help. I mean, and it's not, I don't think anybody's opposed. We've had special meetings before to help move projects along, just because, we're trying not to stand in the way. But I would.
There's one thing about this board I've noticed, that it's proactive in getting things accomplished.
Yeah.
I would lean
Maybe
towards.
maybe not everybody agrees with that, but
I would lean towards possibly a public hearing just because it's subdivision.
Yeah.
But out there,
Well, that's
You're-
the other thing, Tom. Yeah, that how close are the closest neighbors?
there's
There's only 2 neighbors.
there's
Should
probably.
be quiet.
Probably one on each side, back, but you've got a distance on each side of the road, across the road, stuff like that. But it's still, it probably limit it down to a dozen potential,
Right.
landowners, which would,
I think that, I'll say right now, that if it's a minor subdivision, that it should have a public, we should not be saying that, it being a minor subdivision, that we should think about probably having a public hearing.
right.
Putting it out there, going through the motions and do the due diligence.
But that would have to be decided at another meeting on our behalf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in theory, we could have a meeting, go over everything, say we're gonna have a public hearing, and do we need 2 weeks' notice or more?
We need to be able to get it in the paper, so we do need 2 weeks' notice.
Yeah, so, potentially, depending how the dates fell, it could be as soon as 2 weeks afterwards.
Yeah.
And depending what happens, we've had public hearings before where there's not a soul that shows up, and then we've had other ones where a lot of people show up. It's just one of those things.
Right.
And if you complete your packet, bring it in to. Oh my God! I just lost your name.
Okay.
Catherine. And bring it into Catherine. She'll look at it, and you give them to us all ready to roll practically very often.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
The subdivision will be a little bit more complicated.
Right.
So Tim, tonight I will send, since I've got your email address, I'll send you the subdivision ordinance by itself.
All right, I
So you
appreciate
can read through it. It's very specific. You'll see what you need to do.
Appreciate that. All right, well, thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
We'll probably see you again.
Yes.
Any other business? Anybody from back? Nothing?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I
Second?
second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
You?
Recording stopped.
He looked familiar. I just couldn't place him, but it's been 30 years since I dealt with him.
I was able to say it to his brother or something.
Well,
They gotta be three.
they're on 23,
Right, yeah.
So the ones that are gravel, they got stand. They all work together.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. He must be familiar to you?